Hi, I'm Zach from Elective, and we're talking about the Transform series, and we're starting with Illustrator. If you haven't seen the preview of the video, there's a video directly above this one called Transform Preview. Go ahead and check that out, and that's the video that we're going to be making. Now, one of the reasons we start in Illustrator with the face image is because we want to make sure that it's a high enough resolution image to be animated. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this pretty large document. So go to open up Illustrator, go to File, New, and the height is going to be the width is going to be 1920, which is normal HD screen, and the height is actually going to be 2500 pixels. We're going to go ahead and name this Transform Face. And if you have the advanced options open, you can go ahead and make them RGB and 720 because we know we're going to make this for screen. Hit OK. And if you've downloaded the from scratch download, you'll have this image in there. I know it looks a little creepy, but I took this pretty crappy image on purpose because I knew the look that I wanted, and I also knew that I was going to make it all black and white and all that kind of stuff. So I needed a small enough image to actually work with in Illustrator. So once you place your image and you've selected it, go up to the top, you'll see this option that says Image Trace. Go ahead and click on that, and you'll automatically see that this image has already changed, but it's not exactly what we want. So if you go to Preset, and then there's a little button here that says Image Trace Panel, go ahead and click on that. You'll have some options. By default, this advanced is closed, but go ahead and open that up. Black and white is good. That's what you want. But these different numbers here, I'm going to go ahead and place in the actual specific numbers. But if you're using your own image, then you need to kind of play around with these different numbers and make it work for your image. So path is going to be 73%. Then corners is going to be 0%. And noise is actually going to be 1 pixel. Okay, there you go. And that's the image that we're going to be working with here. So I'm going to close this out. And then if you go up to the top, you still have your image selected. Go up to the top where it says expand. This is what's going to make it vector. For better understanding on what vector images are, be sure to check out the basic tutorials on Illustrator. That'll help out a lot. From here, we're going to get our eraser tool, and we're going to actually erase these outer parts because all we want is just the face. Now, something to remember as I'm doing this is that vector images work very differently than in images in Photoshop or even in Paint or anything like that. So the eraser tool is not necessarily working the same. Again, to have a better understanding of that, check out the basic tutorials for Illustrator, and that'll kind of talk about how vector images differ from regular images that you're used to. Now, I'm concentrating mostly on just the black areas at first. I'm going to show you a little quick, easy way to select all of the white areas because seeing the white on white is a little difficult. So it's easier to kind of make sure we snag all of it at first. So I'm just worrying about the black pixels. Now, the other thing that's kind of nice is you don't necessarily have to be perfect on this because they're not sharp edges. By the way, I had a little bit of a cone head there, so I'm just gonna cut it. You don't have to be absolutely precise on the lines, which is kind of nice because it's kind of jagged lines. But you do want to get all of the white pixels out of there. If we were doing just design and not video and all that kind of stuff, then I wouldn't worry about that at all. So I'm going to go ahead and actually deselect the image. I'm going to get my shape tool. Keyboard shortcut is M. Then I'm going to double click on the color panel and just choose any color I want. Make a square over the face. And then I'm going to get my move tool. Type in the letter V for move. Go to arrange, send to back. And now you can see that all of these different white pixels are really just in the way. So A very quick and easy way to select all of those is to get your magic wand tool, which the keyboard shortcut is Y. Then you're going to select any white, basically any white pixel. Once you do that, it selects all the white, and you just hit delete, and it will delete all of those white pixels that are in the way. Now, here's the thing. We still need to fill in the inside of the face. So because, again, we're working on a white background, I'm actually going to do Command A to select all, and then I'm going to use the tool called Shape Builder tool. The keyboard shortcut for that is Shift M. And as soon as you get your tool, you'll notice that there's like this grid that happens and a little plus symbol. What that's going to do is you can actually combine shapes if you want. So if I drag this all the way across, I'm going to combine everything, and it changes it. We don't want that, so Command Z. And I'm going to hold Alt or Option, and I'm going to select out here, and that's going to cut away the all of the outer lines outside of the face image, because it's using this line right here to say, I don't want that. Anyway. So now I'm going to actually zoom out. Command 0 will get your document the size of your screen. And I'm going to size this up. This right here is the reason why we're using a vector image, so that we can scale it up without it losing any kind of quality. So now that we've scaled it up, the last thing we need to do is double check our layers. Here's why we need to worry about our layers. Illustrator does one layer all the time. So all of these little sub layers are simply just creating the image. One of the things that, let's go ahead and get rid of this little guy down here, because that means nothing. So select that layer, hit the little trash can, boom, gone. So whenever we're dealing with other programs like Photoshop, when we export this, it will only read layer 1. It won't read these sub layers. So if we want these things like this back layer and then the hair layer, if you want to call it that, we want those to be on 2 different layers. So I'm going to go to Create New Layer, and push that button, and take Group, which is all the black pixels, and therefore you now have layer 1, which is the internal face, and then layer 2, which is all of the hair black pixel elements. So now I'm going to rename these. I'm going to call this black, and I'm going to call layer 1 white, because we're about to change it back to white. So I'm going to select the inside, and oh, you know what? There's a quick way to do this. This little guy right there. So now it is filled with, and actually we do not want a stroke on that. So it is now filled in white, and all the hair is black. Now that we have our layers correct, the last thing you want to do after saving your document, of course, as an Illustrator document, go to Export, and then choose where you want to save it, and you can change the format to Photoshop Document. So it really is that easy. You just hit Export. You choose, because you're working with screen, you do RGB 72 ppi, pixels per inch. You want to make sure that Right Layers is on there, so you have 2 different layers. Hit OK. And when you go to find your file, go to Photoshop. Look at that. It's a PSD. So you double click on that. You now have your document. Notice this, black and white layers in Photoshop. So this concludes the Illustrator section of the Transform series. If you have any questions, be sure to comment below. And there's also some buttons down below that kind of leads you through the different sections of making this intro video. So thanks for watching. Be sure to check us out on any of the social media websites. And again, I'm Zach from MediaElective.com.